Well, now to a real game. Oregon State, Washington State, for all the Marbs.
Yeah. Not quite.
It's in Corvallis, right?
Yes, I do think it is in Corvallis.
Now, the question I had about that game was because I was my wife and I and some friends are going up to A on Saturday, so we're gonna partake in some fun sports gambling. You know, just fun.
Yeah.
Just have a couple drinks.
S's and giggles.
Yeah, play a little pie gal. We're gonna have steak dinner up there. It's gonna be a great day. So I, of course, had to start doing my patented handicapping of the slate of action.
Sure.
And I saw that Oregon State, although I guess I can't bet that, can I? Because Washington State's in it, so they won't even have that on the board up there.
No, you cannot bet on any teams
right, well, I guess
any games involving Washington.
Doesn't matter. But Oregon State is a 12.5-point underdog to Washington State.
I saw it, I think it was 11.5, but it could be 12.5.
It's 12.5 that I saw, and that is high. That is high, dude.
Well, I don't know if you've seen Washington State, and I don't know if you've seen Oregon State. Washington State lost a heartbreaker to New Mexico last week. I think they lost by 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Good game.
It was a good game. It was, 38-35. And I don't know if you saw what happened to Oregon State, but
I'm fully aware.
A 2-win Air Force team.
Yeah, no, I get it. But
They shut them out.
I don't think that... I think it's a fallacy to say, well, just because that game happened, this will happen. I think that's awful high. And what I want you to, well, it doesn't matter now because I was going to bet Oregon State.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's value on Oregon State.
Yeah.
But I can't bet it, so it doesn't even matter now.
No, it doesn't.
So I was going to have you talk me out of that.
Well, I would not talk you out of it because...
You would not talk me out of betting Oregon State?
No.
Because it sounds like you were saying...
Oh, no, sorry. Flip that.
You're saying Washington State will smoke them.
I would not. You would have to give me serious points before I would consider taking the Beavers.
Well, to me, 12.5 in that game is serious points.
It is not.
Because at the start of the year, Oregon State might have been favored.
Oregon State's offense is dreadful. I mean, they literally cannot pick a quarterback.
Who's playing quarterback?
And it doesn't matter. Against
McCoy?
Air Force, it was Johnson and then McCoy, but Johnson was the main guy.
Well, but who's playing this week?
I'm assuming it's still Johnson, but I'm not 100% sure. Their offense is so very bad. I know you haven't. Buck, have you watched any of Oregon State?
Dreadful. I watched the game against Air Force.
It's hard to watch. Like they cannot complete a pass. I mean, I feel bad on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they've just been decimated by injuries, but I mean, it's just they can't run, they can't throw. There's no threat whatsoever there.
So Washington State is 97th in rush defense, which I would imagine Oregon State. I mean, they're just going to try to run the ball, right?
They ran the ball for 69 yards against Air Force.
Air
no
Force,
line, right?
Oh, Air Force though, they're 90th in rush defense.
Yeah, they ran the ball for 67 yards against them.
Yeah, doesn't bode well.
No,
I still think Oregon State's the value play.
Yeah,
not that it matters.
I can't. So Johnson was 9 of 19 for 106 yards and a pick. By the way, that's a quarterback rating of 11. 11. I didn't know it went to 11. It goes to 11. Goes to 11. Like it's just bad. And if you're Oregon State, I just don't know where you go from here. Start off with some promise. You got drubbed by Oregon, found a way. Obviously, you beat Purdue and Colorado State, and then since then, dude, it's not just losses, dude, it's drubbings. I mean, you're just getting your doors blown off. I mean, Cal beat you 44-7. I mean, you lost to San Jose State, and then Air Force, who is legitimately a bad football team, dude, they blanked you by 28. So I just don't have much hope. You play Washington State and Boise State, which outside of Oregon are the two best teams on your schedule. I mean, I don't know if you could set the spread high enough for me to take Oregon State.
I'll give you 24.
Okay, I'll take 24.
I'll give you 20.
I think I'd take Washington State.
I'll give you 21.
The only thing I'd say for Washington State, my buddy's a huge Coug fan, and he said that loss against, who was it, New Mexico?
New Mexico
was just so deflating. He's not sure the team will get off the mat after that. He thought it was awful, and then they looked. So maybe that's your angle if you like the Bees.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I can't bet it, so it doesn't matter.
And Washington State wasn't really playing for anything. I mean,
no,
they can't get in.
They were still in the rankings though, and I think they're still at 25.
So
maybe.
I'm worried. I don't know what the crowd's going to be like. I mean, we talked about this at the start of the year for Oregon State, and Beaver fan got so pissy at me, but I said, I'm scared that if you lose to San Diego State and then Oregon does what we think they're going to do you, and by the way, that they did, what would that be like? Well, you didn't lose to San Diego State. You did get drubbed by Oregon. And then it's like you righted the ship and you won 2 after that. And so it was like, okay, look, you took your lump against Oregon, and we thought maybe Oregon State could go on this sort of year that Washington State had, right? It stabilizes the program, shows you that Bray's the guy, and you can kind of keep everything together, and then you go next year into your own conference and you go from there. Dude, it's been the exact opposite. I mean, dude, you got the rug pulled out from underneath you, and I don't know where you go from here.
Does the winner of the Pac-2 championship hoist a trophy?
I don't think so. Although they probably, well, I mean, they're still doing the Apple Cup and Civil War, so maybe they come up with a new trophy for this. Maybe. I mean, something.
And would that be exciting? If Washington State wins and they throw Jake Dickert on their shoulders and march him off the field.
Well, anytime you try to build a new rivalry, it's going to take a while. But yeah, I think Oregon State and Washington State should probably start a little, like a state territorial cup thing. I don't know what you do, but yeah, you should probably have some sort of border war skirmish thing happening.
I mean, they have been kind of trading barbs in the media a little bit, so maybe a rivalry brewing.
I saw Dickert said they ain't our friends.
Yeah, like they would have left us just as fast as we would have left them.
Well,
if we got the invite.
I tell you what, he's not wrong about that.
No, he is not.
And it was actually refreshing to hear him say that, because that is true.
Well, and I understand why coaches go on their rants, and Dickert has been pretty. But kickstand down for Washington State.
Ooh,
but
look at you using a Dion term.
Yeah, Coach Prime, please.
Sorry,
but this is where it sucks, and I like Dickert. I think he has obviously done a nice job at Washington State, and they're having a hell of a year. It's the sort of year that the Beavs hoped they were having. But it all is just such double talk, because if I don't know, I'm trying to think. Okay, let's say Coach Prime takes the Florida job or whatever, and Colorado comes coming for Coach Dickert. Guess what he's doing? He's taking the Colorado job. So, like, we can all pound our chest and be like, dude, we're not going anywhere and we're here. But when a better offer comes along, you're going to take it. And the other reason that Dickert is still there and Jonathan Smith isn't is Jonathan Smith was having a nice year and someone came and scooped him up. Remember, Washington State was having a good year too, and then it kind of fell apart, and Dickert's name just got left at the table, and so he was left holding the bag at Washington State, but he didn't want to be there. No one wanted to go through this. You know, what happened to Oregon State and Washington State sucks, and no one wanted to be the one to make that transition. It just fell upon his head.
So they're 8-2.
Yeah.
Who else do they have?
Who, Washington State?
Yeah.
Oregon State has Washington State and then Boise State.
Washington State is 8-2. Who else do they have?
Oregon State, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if Wyoming's any good, but they could very easily be 10-2.
Yeah.
And then he's getting plucked, right? Isn't he getting plucked at 10-2?
I think he might have some chances. And if I'm Washington State fan, I'm very nervous because, again,
who's your next coach?
Who's your next coach?
Well, no, that was a question.
I honestly don't know.
Paul Wolf?
I don't know what.
Rolovich, bring him back.
Ooh, whatever happened to that guy?
Nothing. He's just suing.
Never coached?
No, he's not coaching anywhere.
Wow.
Just suing, and I don't know if there was a settlement on that or anything, but yeah, he was suing for obviously his wages. So I don't know what these jobs are. Honestly, Oregon State, Washington State, I don't know now what those jobs are viewed at, because they were always tough jobs, but I thought they were decent jobs. You look at some of the guys that have taken them in the past, but now I don't know if you're the Mountain West, because you're just Mountain West adjacent, but you're a group of 5. But it's the better group of 5. You got Boise State and all that. So I would assume that those are still decent jobs along the lines of where, a Colorado State and a Boise State and a San Diego State. So I think you start looking at coaches that are commensurate with that. It's probably not going to be anyone that you've heard of.
I have a Nick Rolovich update.
I was going to give you that same update. I bet you found it.
Yeah.
What's Rolo doing?
He's been coaching, bro.
Where?
He has been coaching.
High school?
As the offensive coordinator of...
Be some JC or something.
Guess again.
The great Seattle Sea Dragons of UFL.
XFL.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, there is no. Well, no, the XFL is gone. It's the UFL. It's the United Football League.
But I have a caveat.
What?
They did not. So Jim Haslett was their head coach, and Haslett hired Rolovich September of last year to coach this season. Well, January of this year, it was announced that the Sea Dragons would not be a part of the UFL merger.
Yeah, because they merged with the XFL.
Yeah, so I think he's out of a job again.
No. Well, I mean, I guess you probably can't mend those fences and bring him back to Washington State, but
Yeah, I doubt that. But he could. I mean,
yeah,
I'm surprised he hadn't gotten. I mean, really, like
does seem
completely jettisoned from the.
Yeah, it seems weird because he was a good name, and you would think now with all the COVID stuff being blown over that would have gone away by now. But
well, I keep thinking about like Brian Flores sued the NFL.
Yeah,
and he's back in the NFL coaching and maybe a head coach next year.
Yes, although I mean,
he sued them.
He's got a better resume than Rolovich, but yes.
Well, I know, but
Rolovich, you would think would be.
They don't seem to mind that he's coaching.
No,
you can't.
And I don't know. I'll just tell you what. If I was one of those schools, in that at that level in the Mountain West or the new Pac-12, I 100% would go calling for.
Would you
Rolovich.
take Nick Rolovich at Oregon State right now?
Yes. Yes, I would.
The run and shoot, right?
Yeah.
The June Jones model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Hawaii model. I would. And look, I don't know. Maybe Bray's the guy to get it turned around, but you know me. If you're telling me I have to build a program at a college that isn't going to get big time talent, I will always choose the offensive minded guy that brings the system, as opposed to a defensive culture guy. And maybe Bray does get it turned around, but given the choice right now, you're going to give me Rolovich, you're going to give me Bray. I will take Rolovich.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
Rolovich, who ruined my
Pac-2 talk.
He ruined my perfect season.
What do you mean?
He was the one in Hawaii that ruined my 12-0 season.
Really?
Yeah.
He was their head coach?
No, he was the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're old.
Yeah. We were like 12-0, and we went into Hawaii. We were going to be the first BCS buster ever.
He could sling it, that guy.
And they laid 72 on us.
I guess I didn't realize he was good.
Well, he wasn't. They were just playing BYU.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, 72. I mean, geez, man.
We were 12-0.
Get a stop.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Grief.
I don't know if they punted. We scored 49, and we still lost by 3 touchdowns.